Good evening and welcome to That BS Show. I am your host, Kimberly, and this is my beautiful co host, Sara Jean, coming to you live from Sedona and Las Vegas. And we didn't have a show last week because, Sara, you were in the hospital actually.
I did, it sounds worse than it was, but I ran out of my asthma inhaler and I had to go to the doctor for like an emergency breathing treatment. Also, because it's like I could have called in an inhaler, but then by the time it takes to fill the prescription, it just was like I couldn't fucking breathe. So
Yeah, I knew when we got close to going on air, and we usually have a little bit of a pre-show or we confirm with each other. And I didn't hear back from her, and then we got closer and closer, and I was like, okay, something is wrong. And then I heard back from you, and so I was glad that you were okay. But it was definitely I'm glad that
I
you're
am
okay.
okay. I think it's like, I don't know, it's funny with asthma because you can feel it kind of coming on, but sometimes it'll taper off on its own. But I can't remember if it was windy that day or something was going on, like my allergies, like my eyes, like then my breathing. And I like went to use my inhaler and it was gone. And I was like, oh no, I'm like, it's okay. Like everything's going to be okay. And I was like, no, bitch, like it's not. You have to go to the hospital. Like, not the
Yeah,
ER. I went to
yeah,
yeah,
you
but
had to.
it's
Yeah.
better, and I've been cleaning all weekend, and believe it or not, cleaning all the dust like that, I haven't really been bothered by my asthma all week, so I think maybe the steroids worked.
Well, we have moved into Virgo season, so you are feeling the Virgo.
I
I've
am.
done the same thing. Yeah, I've totally shifted into Virgo. It's glorious.
It kind of is actually. It was kind of a messed up Leo season, if I do say so
Yes, it
myself.
was. It usually, I mean, it was. I let my birthday time, like around your birthday and my birthday, was prime, like summer. It was like our birthday season was prime summer, and everything before and after just has been.
Vibes
Uh,
were off.
oh, I am loving it. I'm loving the clarity. I'm loving the crispness of it. I had sessions yesterday and this morning, and it started like 7:30. And when I went out to feed it, like I feed around 5:30, and I wore a sweatshirt out to. I was like, yes, this
Hell
is
yeah.
so. I love it. And then I
Yeah, it's
do.
cooled down a little bit here, but it makes a difference in Vegas from like even 105 to like 97. Like it makes a difference, believe it or not. Like,
It absolutely does, and we've
yeah.
moved down to the I don't think we're getting above 90 right now. So we're even at times, up until 3, it's been I could be out with the horses during the day and it doesn't bother me at all. So it's been nice because
Nice.
now I'm out with the horses more, and that just clears my brain. Summers are just tough because during the day, and and I do try to make it so that like I have stuff to do, like I do like home workouts and stuff, but then at some point, I'm just kind of like, I need to be outside. I'm going nuts.
And
So
it's too hot. It's not
it's
enjoyable in the middle
it's
of the
not
day at
enjoyable. The
3
horses,
p.m.
the horses are moody this time of year. I don't ride consistently. But tonight this weekend I had retreat groups and sessions, and so I had a nice retreat group tonight that was a lot of fun, and it was so
Oh,
nice to be out there in an evening session, and there was a nice light breeze, and it was beautiful.
that's great. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe where should we start? I'm kind of wanting to dig into this uh, RFK Trump happening. That's kind of where my attention it got. Well, the assassination got me back into more politics than I uh, necessarily wanted to be watching and kind of diving into, but it got me to go looking. And this one definitely has it's I don't know how the legs, but it's got legs in my opinion. I like
Yeah,
this, even though I don't believe that they're certainly saviors in any stretch of the imagination. But I like the slogan "Make America Healthy Again." I
I
do
like
like
that
that.
too.
I like that. I think Robert Kennedy brings I mean, lifelong Democrat coming in and saying and joining a coalition with Trump. That's pretty.
Well,
Um,
somebody tried to say like, "Oh, he sold out," but I actually read something, or not read something. His running mate, her name's like Shannon something.
mhm.
She's like a pretty big Democrat, and I think she helped get something with Chuck Schumer. She said it was like the biggest mistake of her life, like helping him like get reelected or something. But basically, they found Democrat plants inside of their campaign
Mhm.
that was trying to kind of like ruin it from the inside. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, it's just funny that all these people are like, oh, what a fake, blah, blah, blah. Like leftists are saying this, but I'm like,
Mhm.
yo, what are you guys talking about? Like, he literally found plants inside of his campaign that were trying to like undo it. And they were also like leaking shit to the DNC. And I'm like, why would he then turn around and endorse the Democrats? Like, they play filthy, rotten, dirty games over and over and over. And all they are complicit in everything that they blame their opponents of doing, everything they say that their opponents are going to do, lock up political dissidents. Blah, that's what they're doing. That's exactly what they fucking did. Like, that's actually a fucking tactic. It is like a totalitarian tactic to
Mhm.
blame the others of what you yourself are doing.
Mhm.
So then when they try to come out and say, hey, look what they did, they're like, oh, they're just saying that, look, we said that they were doing this years ago. And it's like, that's all part of their tactic. It's all part of
Mhm.
their subversive, um covert, like it's over, like they are complicit in doing what they accuse their
Yeah.
opponents of doing, and it's really ugly. And I, for one, am glad. I think it took a lot of balls for JFK to come out, or RFK to come out and say that. And like, even going against his family, certain members of his family
Yeah.
have come out and been like, we don't
I
agree with
saw
him. And
that. And then they cut his, as soon as he did that, they cut off his Secret Service detail
immediately,
immediately.
and it's like,
Yeah.
it's just so
I, you
petty.
know,
It's very petty.
well, it's just disgusting. And I I was waiting to see if anybody on my feed from the left would say something like, fuck, like, okay, let's let's use some critical thinking skills here. It's not like, and also Tulsi Gabbard came out today, I think today, and said, I just saw a thing that he posted that said Wonder Woman has joined the league or something like that. It was
Oh,
something, yeah. And it was a really good picture of her. And I just hope that this hits more people to be kind of critically thinking. My concern is that, well, for lack of a better term, right now, the woke virus has just, what's the word, weaseled into the brain so deep that the cognitive dissonance and willful ignorance will still, it'll still be Orange Man instead of looking beyond it, underneath it, and really looking at it. Somebody sent me, I haven't looked at it yet. Somebody sent me a Roseanne Barr interview that they said that I had to watch. So I think that somebody else on, people are coming out that you wouldn't expect to come out and saying like, this is more serious than uh than people are taking it. I hope that this kind of
well,
wakes some.
Roseanne Barr, for her part, she's been out. She's been doing crazy interviews, and she kind of
Yeah,
was a lifelong Democrat, and then got canceled from her own TV
yeah, it was
show.
it was who she interviewed. It wasn't Roseanne, because I know she's definitely been out. It was somebody that she interviewed. Let me check this right now. Um,
Yeah, she's kind of become.
Jovan Pulitzer. Oh, anyway, this doesn't have to do this. Something else. I thought it was election. My bad. What were you
I
saying?
mean, she does really like, listening to her talk about what happened to her and how that kind of forced her to be more like conservative Republican, because the way they blacklisted her
Hmm.
and came out in lockstep against her and painted her to be some racist, evil bigot, when like traditionally Roseanne was always a Democrat, a leftist. She
Yeah.
always fought for like civil liberties and civil rights and stuff, and expanded like civil and social like rights. And they kind of pushed her into that corner. And it's funny because I feel like they do that. Like, the left eats their own over and over and over. And you step one little thing out of line, or like, I'm surprised, like even Bill Maher, if you look at him, he's not as popular, and people have like turned against Bill Maher because he's very, the thing that bothers me with him is he'll admit all this shit and then he's like, but I'm still voting for, it's a vote blue no matter who. And that's a crazy mentality to me. I'm not going to
Yeah.
vote anybody just because of their party affiliation. Like, what is the substance? What have they done? Like, what do they stand for? Like, no, I think that is literally how you brainwash and get people who are low information voters just to align. Like, I'm sorry, if abortion is
to
your
me,
number one thing, like, that's
to me,
crazy.
that just makes you cowardice and just kind of like, okay, like every once in a while, and not every once in a while. I mean, I've seen more than that of clips of interviews that are decent, but at the core of it, I just think, and after living in LA for so long, you hear things about people, and he's
Oh yeah,
he's not very well liked in LA, and there's and it was no secret that his time at the Playboy Mansion and what he liked and kind of how he acted around. I just kind of have always thought he was.
Yeah, he seems kind of like a little bit of like a, I hate the word misogynist, but bigamist, kind of like a dude who likes young, attractive women. That's just the vibe I get from him. I don't know, but like,
Yeah,
I mean, I guess can't blame a guy, but still,
yeah, no, and I just kind of the
a little
non-married.
sleazy
And
for
again,
sure.
whatever you do in the privacy it's really, I don't give a shit. It just tells me it gives me an insight to what kind
But
of fucking.
even like Colbert made that joke recently that was all over the news, like with CNN, where the one of the hosts tried to
Oh
say they're
yeah,
like unbiased, and he was like, "Oh, really? That's what you guys say?" And like everybody started laughing, and obviously it was like an unplanned. But it's like, come on, even leftists know that this shit is not unbiased. Like, you're not fooling
yeah,
anyone. Like, it's silly sometimes the level of propaganda and like the lies that they will double down on when it's clearly very one-sided. Same with Fox. I mean, the difference is Fox doesn't pretend like they're the unbiased end all be all. Like they're very clearly have like a conservative lean, but at the end of the day, I feel like all of them are kind of neocons, like when you have neocons coming out for the left, like the Bush family and the Mitt Romney and all them, and the kind of aligning with the leftists, because that is the hegemony, that is the establishment party now. The right, the Donald Trump and RFK and Tulsi Gabbard, these people are kind of like political outcasts a little bit, and they're not the establishment. So regardless of what anybody says, like, I still think that Trump is the anti-establishment, person to vote for in a weird way, even though he is still obviously very tied. He obviously takes some, donations from here, but the reason why they don't like him is because they can't pay him out. Like that's always been the thing. Follow the money. Like they have Kamala in a fucking ad wearing a $65,000 Tiffany necklace that she damn well did not fucking buy. So it's like,
yeah,
these people are being bought out because they can, and the reason why they don't like him is because you can't buy him out. How do you buy someone out who has all the fucking money that they want and everything they could ever need? You can't
yeah.
control them. And at the end of the day, they either control people through money or through blackmail. And if they don't have either of those things on him, then he's dangerous, because he's not just going to go along with what they fucking want,
Yeah,
So
it's
sorry.
it's quite a fascinating turn of events to have now so many people that are coming out, and like even Tulsi's sharing her story. And I mean, she shared it before she came, joined, but so many people coming out and saying, I'm not going to support the Democratic Party because this is serious. It's serious enough that I mean, I'm glad war is on the table to be like, okay, Trump said that he'd stop the war overnight, and now whether or not we see that, but I really honestly do not believe that Trump wants war. I
Oh, I don't think so either.
I and I'll take that over. And I'll be honest with you, I really, after 2000 and what the fuck was the last one I voted in? 2016. Is that right? 16?
Is that
No,
Hillary and Trump?
no. The last one, so 2008, 2012. Shit.
Yeah, Ron Paul 2012.
Yeah,
Yeah.
was the last time I voted. And I voted locally, but I stepped out of the presidential.
Yeah.
Um, I actually, that's back on the table. I'll know more as we get closer, but it is back on the table. If um, yeah, if that's going to be the slogan, make America healthy again. And I guess the concern is always like, at least for me, like when it comes down to the war stuff, like I just don't see it stopping, but at least it's on the table. Because even if you stop like the Russia, all certain things, there's going to be other things popping up because it just seems like
Well,
like
I do think other leaders are scared of him. That's part of the thing why he's attractive on a world stage, and that's kind of why there weren't. That's
yeah,
why Russia didn't do this under Trump. That's why all this shit that's happening didn't happen under him, because leaders were genuinely scared of him. He was intimidating. He's a wild
yeah,
card. They don't know what to expect, and they also know that he's not fucking around.
yeah.
Like
It's the
the fact that
connection
he
with
went to
Israel.
North
It's his
Korea,
connection
even
with
that
Israel. Sorry,
but
go
I
ahead.
mean, he also had all the connections with Middle Eastern. Like he had all those Saudi peace
Yeah,
agreements, and now guess what? Saudi Arabia took us off of the fucking petrodollar. That shit didn't happen under Trump. That happened under Biden, because they're not scared of him and they know he's not going to do a fucking thing. And low key, I feel like they're crashing America. But Trump, that's not good for him. That's not good for his businesses. He doesn't do
yeah,
good when only the rich people do good. He makes money from the middle class being able to go on vacations and being able to
mhm,
afford nicer things. That actually is beneficial to
mhm.
Trump's
To
literal
everyone,
businesses, to
to
everyone, but
everyone.
also to him. He
Yeah,
doesn't profit. His businesses don't make money when everyone's too fucking poor to even buy food. You know what I mean? He's not profiting then. So it's like,
yeah,
what's good for the goose is good for the gander, or fucking whatever. You know what I mean? But with Kamala and all them, they don't fucking care. They don't have any ties to anything. If America crashes and burns, they're still going to be eating good. It doesn't fucking affect them at the end of the day. Like
mhm.
they're gonna be taken care of.
Which
Maybe,
is
who
why
knows?
all these the famous and wealthy leftists that start
All of
popping off
Hollywood,
about it's
all
like,
of them.
because you're gonna fucking be okay when everything fucking goes to shit, you dumb fucks. Like,
Yeah, they're
and
signing
then,
us on to eternal poverty, and they don't care because they fucking caught the loophole, and they
yeah,
they will be actually more empowered. They will
yeah.
be more celebrity. Their status will be higher than the fucking have-nots. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the
Like there's
Hunger Games,
the
they'll,
capital city,
yeah,
exactly.
that's
They're
exactly, yeah,
they're they're going to be the capital city, and they kind
yeah,
of already are. You look at like the Met Gala
yeah,
or whatever, and like even when all the celebrities didn't have to wear masks, but every single person who worked there, all the photographers,
yeah.
all of the fucking waiters, they all had to wear masks while the celebrities are walking around like full face. And it's like, why? How? Like they probably had to get the COVID shots just like y'all did. Like what's the difference? Oh, because they're working class, they're service industry,
Mhm.
they can't have their fucking masks off. Like it is all just so gross, but
And
these
that just
people
shows
like
you
it.
how
They
that
like
just
it.
shows you how programmed and it just sickens me how programmed the masses are to their TVs, and and to give any of these fucking buffoons, any of them, like they're actors, like that's not that, it's not that fucking I mean, no, it's not that fucking difficult. Uh, One could argue that statement, but how many actors do you know that really like make it and they stay in the sphere of conversation? Not many of them do. You know how many
Oh,
Tom Hanks are there? How many people that really really make it to that level, and people just, they're so mesmerized by a character and draw you in, and you really think that these people are something special. They're not.
special.
I mean,
No,
they're just not. They're people.
they're still just humans, and they're gonna age and they're gonna die just like us. They're
all,
gonna get
all of it.
diseases. They're gonna
All of
fucking
it.
be gross sometimes in the morning when they wake up. You know what I mean? Like it's like we put these people on pedestals like they are gods above us. And I've never been in like there are a few celebrities or like musicians that I would love to meet and maybe be a little starstruck, but at the end of the day, I'm not fucking worshiping them. I would more just be excited to meet a fucking artist. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like the Kardashian obsession, like all of the reality TV. I'm not a reality TV person. I've never watched the Kardashians. I could tell you who Kim is and Kylie. I couldn't point out the fucking other ones. I have no idea what the difference is.
I've
I don't
never
know.
watched the.
Like I don't like the way that they set beauty trends that then mess up entire fucking generations of girls. You know what I mean? Like it's just it is all so sick to me, but it's also part of the bread and circuses. Like of course they need this to distract us. And also when you're working so hard every day to provide for your family and then you have kids that you have to take care of after working 8 to 10 hours, you're exhausted. You don't have time to learn about the government and fucking secret societies and the fucking World Economic Forum and the UN Agenda 20. You just don't have fucking time for that. You want to unplug and watch a little bit of TV, and it's sad because I get it. I fucking get it, you know, but like I don't have kids. Maybe that's why I had time to focus on this shit. Also, I really fucking hate tyranny. I really fucking hate totalitarianism. And when I can see it coming down the line, like that shit, like it awoke a fire inside of me, you know, like because I would rather be dead than a slave. I just would. Some people can live through it and they're going to fucking get through it maybe long enough to turn it around. But like, I just don't want to. I don't want to live in a world like that. So I'm trying to talk about these tyrannical systems and how they're enforced and how the public goes along with it and how like everything that happened during Nazi Germany and the way they got the public to shut up and go along with it, or you got canceled or you lost your job or you fucking this happened to you. That's what's happening. And that's why people fall in line because they don't want to be on the out group. They don't want to be the black sheep. They don't want to be the person to their friends like, no, you're wrong against fucking 50 people and you're the only one on Facebook posting shit with all these leftists tag teaming each other in your fucking comments, making you feel alienated, isolated, belittling you, making you feel stupid. Like I fucking hate that. I don't even post on Facebook anymore because of that, because it's a tactic of the left. It's a communist tactic to gang up on people so they feel isolated in order to get you to shut up. Because guess what? Now you're not going to say something next time unless you want to get heat from these 15 fucking people. You know what I mean? So it's like,
you know, and that's another thing. I can't believe that as women, it's like the women that like a woman like Kamala are a kind of they're just a bitter, just controlling, they just I don't know what it is. They just it's like chalk on the nails on
there's
the
that, but
chalkboard.
also people project. So just because you yourself would not be able to do something heinous and tyrannical and you wouldn't want to snatch up patents and you wouldn't want to fucking do uh like setting prices on groceries or whatever and saying that's the cause of inflation when you know
Yeah,
damn well it's printing money and government sending billions
yeah,
and billions and billions and fucking billions and billions of our fucking tax
yeah,
dollars overseas.
yeah,
That's what's causing inflation, but they're going to blame it on the grocery store, who's
yeah,
also, by the way, the grocery store who is creating jobs for hundreds of people. How many people you think
yeah,
work at like a big grocery store, from the back room to the cashiers to the people who
yeah.
clean the bakery, all of it? Like these are jobs. So now you're going to penalize the fucking grocery store for making 1.5% profit. You know what I mean? You're going to set prices so then those fucking go out of business. Like it's insane, man. Like the way people do not understand economics and they think money just comes out of nowhere. And in
Yeah.
a way, they've been taught that because it does, because that's the way our fucking
Yep,
government
yep.
treats money, you know, but
Hmm.
it doesn't mean that it's not without consequences, which
Yeah.
Ron Paul, there's nothing backing it. At least we used to have the petrodollar. That was kind of our last hope. And so now that Saudi Arabia said, no, we're going to accept BRICS nations money as well. Like we are so fucked and people don't get it. They haven't been educated. They think that everything is magical and the
Yeah.
government can fix everything, and like
Yeah.
they're gonna fucking learn. And a part of me hates this. Like I don't want this to happen, but I'm kind of like, I kind of think this is what needs to happen in order for these people to fucking learn, because this is what identity politics, voting on emotions, what if she gets elected and America just middle class completely fucking destroyed forever? Y'all did that, you fucking deserve it. Your kids deserve it because you were too much of a fucking coward to
Yep.
vote for somebody that was
You get the
better
government you
candidate. You
deserve.
don't like him. I don't like his personality. I don't like his tweets. Me neither. I don't fucking like him either, but he still would be the better fucking president who's not controlled by the fucking deep state and by fucking greater forces like the World Economic Forum and New World Order creepy shit. Like, no, like, if that's what it takes, though, I guess I'm along for the ride because they're going to steal my options, you know?
Yeah, it's well, I've said it so many times that it just boggles my mind, but I remember the first time when I started really, and I'm no scholar in economics by any stretch of the imagination, but if you watch something, I must have watched the Jekyll Island, and then there's a Money Masters. It's like I need to find that link and start sharing it. It's like a 12-part series on the history of economics and the foundation, and it's such a good fucking series. And I think it was like 12 episodes, but you can just watch that. You can just, you can just take yourself out of the mainstream narrative and just dig just a little bit beneath the surface.
They don't want to spend any amount of their precious time after work
I
research
get
and
that.
educating. But I do, but I also don't, because I'm like, well, then you choose to remain ignorant because you don't want to dedicate any time to this, you know? Like,
Especially at this point in the fucking game. And look, if
yeah, G. Edward Griffin wrote The Creature of Jekyll Island
Jekyll
or
Island,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, and he's still going strong. He's still doing interviews. He's still sharp as a tack to this day.
yeah,
Like, he's,
yeah,
I mean, and like also like the Mises Institute, like there's a lot of, like, you don't even have to have that long of an attention span. I'm not even talking about sitting there for an hour. You can watch little reels or clips or, you know,
yeah,
of Milton Friedman kind of explaining how this stuff
yeah,
works. And you can watch 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. You find
yeah.
something that finally clicks with you, and then you go a little bit deeper, you know, but you should try to have a very basic fundamental knowledge of how real economics works
And
outside of
even
these.
just looking at like the Mises Institute, but looking at the Keynesian economics versus
Versus,
Austrian economics. I
mm-hmm.
remember when I first started having and watching and learning, and because once the like dots connect, then you're like, oh, and it doesn't have to be something like God damn it, Kim, speak. Politics shouldn't be a 24-hour news cycle reality show and everybody's just talking about like there's actually policy and there's actually things that matter that are not the emotional side of things that do make this easier to navigate so that you don't have to feel so just like, oh, well, my team is this one and my team is, it's a little more serious than that. And I know that we've heard like for how long, this is the most important election you'll ever participate in. But I would have to say that this actually might be, this actually does feel like the one that,
I mean, yeah, like you were saying, like there's more nuance than people want to look at. And when you look at policy, when you look at the way this shit is written, it's not emotional at all. And in fact, sometimes reading legal jargon is really hard for people to decipher what it's actually saying, you know? So like
I think
when
oftentimes for sure.
when you look at like the Agenda 2030 and it just goes through the bullet points, it sounds all beautiful and utopian, like, oh, we want sustainable energy, we want to end world hunger, we want but then you look at the policy and it is completely fucking heinous. Depopulation, talking about like taking energy down to fucking wind and solar, which is energy dilute, which means you'll have rolling blackouts in the middle of winter and summer when you need the AC and the heat the most. That's when you will experience rolling blackouts because there's not enough fucking energy stored and saved to produce that amount. And like when you look at this and you look at the way the third world is kept third world by not allowing coal power plants, by not allowing gas powered like power plants, by not allowing these things, that's how the third world stays the fucking third world, is because Western nations come in and say, no, it's too bad for the earth. It produces too much carbon. You little country in Africa cannot have a coal powered plant. You can't do it. And then we also subsidize. Then we send their government millions and millions and millions of dollars to not have them build these power plants. So then the government there gets very fucking rich and the people are very fucking poor because they have no energy. Literally, we tried it with windmills and fucking water wheels. You know what I mean? Up until the Industrial Revolution, and it couldn't get us where we needed to go with the power that we have now. You start cutting power, Western society crumbles. People start dying, infrastructure fails. You know what I mean? Like, this is just like very basic 101, like how shit works, and people don't want to hear it. They believe in a magical la la la, no, solar power plants are going to save us. Meanwhile, you're talking about the earth and animals. You know how many fucking hundreds of square acres, thousands and thousands of square acres are needed to build these things, destroying every fucking animal and plant that lives on that land underneath it. But I'm supposed to believe that that's better. That everything is a trade-off, and I don't like these fucking trade-offs that these are offering, because it also doesn't offer us enough power, and it also destroys the fucking environment and kills animals and takes up fucking land mass and all this shit. I could go on and on, but it's the way they present it. Oh, everything is hunky-dory and beautiful and everything's gonna be great. Meanwhile, they're fucking planning on depopulating us. Like, they don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, they are.
And people still don't believe that. They do not believe. And history would say that it absolutely is possible. You wouldn't like, how the fuck does it? And I guess it's just because we're wired different. I really, I mean, fundamentally, I don't know if it's in our astrological chart. I mean, I've said that before, that I think that the way that our, I would love
DNA
to
too. I bet you have Norwegian, Viking shit. I have like Scottish and Irish blood.
I'm German and Swedish.
Yeah, I'm Irish
Yeah.
and Scottish too. Those people fought against the fucking British for hundreds and hundreds of years, even very begrudgingly to this day. You know what I mean? Because some people, it is in their blood to fight, and I don't understand how people fall for this. It's embarrassing.
And I mean, I've often said that I do think our eighth house placements do play a part in this, because there is the ability to see and know things that other people just can't
like
see and
below
know.
the surface. Yeah.
And we just naturally see and know it. We come into this fucking written in the stars to come down here, and we just have, there's just something about truth seekers that I'm just born with it. I've always been kind of a troublemaker in some ways, as far as I'm not the one that shut up at meetings. I'm not the one that, which is why I suppose I didn't necessarily fare well in corporate America, but I'm just not one to, I'm flustered for words, because it really does boggle my mind. Because I would think, here's my vision of, like, with the Trump and the RFK stuff. I would have thought that there would have been people that would have come out way more out of the woodwork, and recognizing that First and Second Amendment are fucking critical. And Second Amendment, like it.
The Second Amendment is only there if the first fails. Isn't that the old saying? That's the old adage. If freedom of speech fails, then we have the right to fucking bear arms against a tyrannical government, which, by the way, censorship is tyrannical. And they can say, oh, the conservatives are the one banning books in schools. First of all, age appropriate material has always been a fucking norm. Nobody is banning these books from being published or out of existence or out of fucking Borders or Barnes and Noble or fucking online. You can still purchase these books. But saying that kids should have access to sexually explicit material, like, no, that's never been a fucking thing. That's not censorship. That's not real censorship. We've always had age appropriate. That's why a little kid can't go walk into a fucking rated R movie. Oh, is that censorship? Oh, it's censorship. A little 5-year-old can't watch fucking nudity and violence. No, that's not fucking censorship. It's completely different. What is censorship, though, is shutting up your opponents on social media, banning people, blacklisting people, not doing interviews with people, not letting people defend themselves,
And
literally
Zuckerberg came out
shadow
today.
banning.
Zuckerberg came out today and admitted that there was pressure from the White House to censor.
Yeah, not letting medical doctors who are licensed doctors talk about COVID if they have a different opinion. That is fucking government censorship. That is censorship.
Yeah.
Not
Well, that's
not
one of the reasons that
kids can't
RFK came out is
gay books in school. Shut the like
yeah,
that's not censorship.
yeah.
Stop it. Like stop.
Stop
Again,
it.
they're just point the finger.
Stop it.
They're the ones doing censorship. No, they're not actually.
No.
They're saying age appropriate, and that is a fucking normal. That is normal, and that
Yeah.
should be a thing, but banning people on social media, or like how Google and Apple came out way back in the day with Parler and just said, nope, you're not allowed to exist. You're not allowed to be a social media platform because it was
Yeah.
competing ideas. That is
Yeah.
censorship, so they're
And
very,
you see
very
Tim
happy to do it.
an
They're foaming
interview
at the mouth.
Tim Waltz did an interview. Waltz did an interview saying like talking specifically about the First Amendment. You're not guaranteed free speech, and and I know the route
For
is going.
misinformation. Oh, really? That's funny because I'm pretty sure during the revolutionary times, what they were saying would have been considered misinformation. Oh, you're going to vote for a felon? Yeah, pretty sure that George Washington and all of the patriots and the founding fathers, they literally had fucking death sentences out on their lives because they were fucking like criminals of the state for saying this stuff. So yeah, the fact that
Did you
somebody's a
see
felony.
did you see Tucker on one of his interviews came out and said he's like I grew up in boarding school. Tim Walz, I know him because I guess Tim Walz must have a background in boarding school. He goes, I know his type. He said it flat out. That guy's a fucking. He didn't say fucking. That guy's a fucking creep. And I just was like, because we had both said. I mean, and now his tagline is, he's America's father. If you can't see that this guy's a fucking creeper, if you don't get those feelings from this guy, you're exactly why
He
like getting
gives
taken
me the
advantage of.
heebie-jeebies. He gives me the
Ugh.
heebie-jeebies. And don't get me wrong, I'm not necessarily a big fan of Vance, only because I think he's kind of
No, he
stupid, to be
gives me
honest,
heebie-jeebies he gives
in
me
a
him too.
different way.
I don't like him.
He gives them to me in a different way. Tim Waltz seems like the type of dude that is so nice and smiley to your face, but like if you did something wrong, like he would hire a hit out on you. Like he just seems like that type of
And I
guy.
just
Like
think he's
he's
like somebody's gimp
overtly,
down in a closet. Like he's like
yeah.
if you went into the incognito pages on his porn search, I just he just ugh.
Yeah, he kind
Ugh.
of makes my skin crawl, and Vance makes my skin crawl, but it's more like in like a dorky. Like I just feel like he's a try hard, and like he like I don't know. He said like he has really bad sound bites, and I'm like just for optics, I'm like it's not good. I really
Yeah,
wish he would have picked Tulsi Gabbard, or
oh,
I
wouldn't
mean
that have been that would have
Vivek
been.
would have been dope. I think Vivek was too
But I think wasn't it Theo
competed.
that Walls worked for Theo, and so that's how the connection happened. So
I didn't know that.
he was brought up through Theo. What's
He's
his name? Robert
also
Theo? No.
very leftist, like low key, like communist Marxist. I hate using that because I've like I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the true Marxists, like the ones that like I like friended online for the most part, like they don't even want to be associated with the left. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, like we don't claim them. Like even like I feel like the real like Marxist communists that are kind of like hardcore about it are like, no, like these people are fucking capitalists. They're lying to you, and they're gonna centralize government not for the people. Like even they know that if they centralize power, it's not going to be for the working class. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just a way to snatch up power and
It
claim that.
literally is going to be Hunger Games. It literally, and then they're going to make the smart cities. I think dirty bombs will go off
Oh
in
yeah,
strategic places, and then it will just be building up this
kind of like how
completely
Maui, like what they did with
centralized
Maui.
government. What's
hmm
that?
Like with Maui, how this
Yeah.
disaster happened, and they were already planning, like they already had plans for Maui to be a 15-minute city, and guess what? Now they get to do it because there was like this horrible disaster there. Like we don't know how that happened. That's crazy. Like, but guess what? Now we get to do our 15-minute city. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. They definitely hate the rural people that can survive on their own. I mean, it's Hank Williams Jr. song, Country Boy Can Survive, but it's true. They can hunt, they can skin a deer, they know how to make their own wine, they have wells on their land. You know what I mean? Like, they fucking hate people like that. Those people are enemy number one to the state. Anybody that has any sort of self-sustainability, like, those people are the ones that like need to watch out, literally. You know, like, I feel like a sitting duck in a city. I don't know what's going to happen. I try to have a little bit of a plan. I'm also not some crazy prepper. Whatever's going to happen is going
You're
to
just gonna
happen.
come here.
Yeah, exactly. Make my way to there. Shit.
You
But
and Volt can stay in my airstream until.
like, I wish that, like, I really hope I'm wrong. I do. Like, I'm actually praying that I'm wrong. My friends could be like, see, you're just crazy. And you just like had it. Like,
Yeah,
I hope, I really
yeah.
do. Like, I don't want what I think is going to happen. That's the worst thing that could happen. And it would affect me too. It would affect my life. It would destroy my hopes and dreams. And like, I don't want that to happen. I hope I'm
No,
fucking wrong. Like, please, God, prove me wrong. Don't let this shit come to pass, you know? But I, again, with the eighth house thing, like, I just know what I know. And I
yeah.
can, like, I think that's another thing. We have a nose for bullshit. I don't like being lied to. I really don't like it. It insults my intelligence. It insults my spirit, you know? So
Soul.
when my soul, yeah. And so when I see like the lies and the way they paint everything all happy, like, no, everyone's going to have food. Meanwhile, they're fucking penalizing farmers and making it so you can't farm beef. And they're going to cull all the fucking cows. And then where are people going to get the food from? They're going to go, oh, see, that's global warming. No, see, that's bad government policy. That was planned obsolescence. They planned for that failure. They wanted it to happen. So then when
Problem,
food shortages
reaction,
happen,
solution.
yeah, now they're going to jump in with their fucking solution. And it's just like, we all know, except for, I had a friend that literally messaged me, like, I read Agenda 2030 on the UN website. Like, what's wrong with it? It sounds so nice. And I'm just like, oh my God, but have you seen the policy? Have you seen it in practice? Have you seen the what actually it does? Like, I'm glad that you can only see the surface of it and you think that these people really love humanity, even though all of them, including Jane fucking Goodall, Kamala, all of
All
them,
of
the
them.
fucking Prince or King Chart, whatever his fucking name is, they're all eugenicists. They all want depopulation. They all want silent weapons for quiet wars. They think there's too many people on the earth. They think we're using their resources
Yep.
and they don't fucking want us anymore, you know? So I'm like, these people all believe that in lockstep. And you think that they're going to write some shit that will be beneficial to humanity, or will it be beneficial to themselves, to their family? You know,
Yeah.
like, these people are worse than a James Bond villain. And I'm just like, hello, haven't you ever seen a fucking movie? Like, these people are the villains. Like, and of course they're going to parade themselves around as the heroes who are doing, no, man. Like,
And
it's,
then to have the masses so fooled, and this is where women drive me nuts with this fucking insane need to fucking have a abortion, just this, and still don't recognize, in my opinion, that, I mean, yes, this is a hot button issue. You're being preyed upon. That's why it always comes up. The government should not be involved in this at all. But here we go. And this is one of my things with taxes, because force and fraud, this is what it does. You're forced to pay these things, and for people that don't support it, their tax dollars are going to something that they truly are just not in alignment with. And so then you have this fighting, and it should just be something that's between you and your doctor. It should not even be something that is anybody's fucking business. And to watch women lose their mind over this. And at the DNC, they had a fucking abortion bus, like literally a bus,
and a vasectomy bus to give
yeah,
men
with a
free
ticker, like,
vasectomies. Sterilize
you know,
yourself.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like
Don't they want voters? Because usually kids do tend to kind of go back to whatever their parents thought, you know, like however they were raised. There might be a streak where they're a little rebellious, but usually it comes back around in the long run. You know what I mean? Like, usually having that perspective and then maybe like seeing like the other side in action, it might give you a better thing to fall back on. So it's like, don't you want more voters? Or like, do you know that the end is coming? So it doesn't matter if your party voters sterilize themselves and abort their own children, and like they're creating less future voters. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking weird. And also the women's issue. Oh, really? Oh, the Republicans are the threat to women's rights. Meanwhile, the left is literally erasing women, erasing medical terminology. Everything needs to be inclusive to the 0.1%. Forget about half the fucking population that has been enslaved since the dawn of time. We're just fucking yesterday's fucking old news. We don't still need our own rights, our own spaces, our own terminology. Meanwhile, they don't even fucking test medication still to this day on women. It's tested on men. So then when women take it, they're like, hey, it's not working for me. And the doctors are like, oh, weird. We didn't know that. I wonder why. Meanwhile, we've still been fucking persecuted in medicine, gaslit, told we're crazy. We're not feeling what we're feeling. But the right is they're the main threat to females and to women's rights. Meanwhile, we're having trophies, titles, scholarships, fucking job positions, all kinds of shit that is supposed to be for women is now being undercut from us for mentally ill men. And don't get me wrong, I think it's an issue. I do feel for that. But whatever their issue is, it is a men's issue, not a women's issue. That is something that is unique to men that they're experiencing. If they don't perform masculinity, it is still not a biological female issue. You know, so it's like, but somehow it gets lumped over to us. We're the ones that are having men enter our prisons, literally our fucking prisons in California, in New York, and New Jersey. And they don't even have to fucking take hormones. They don't even have to. All they have to do is fucking identify, and they could be a serial rapist, raped 10 women. Guess what? They're going to get housed with the women and bunk with a fucking woman who was most likely raped or molested as a kid. Because everybody knows that criminal mind usually fucking starts from trauma as a child. So now this woman that's been possibly traumatized her whole life is in jail, supposed to be a safe space, is going to have to be housed with a serial rapist, or else what? You can't. There's not even a way to address it. Like, it's sick, man. Why aren't there trans men that want to be housed with the male prisoners? Why is it unidirectional? Why is it only women that have to fucking sacrifice their safety, their spaces? It's only one way, because at the end of the day, trans men know that they still fucking need women. They still need women's spaces. They still need women's locker rooms. You think a fucking trans man is just going to go butt ass naked into the men's locker room? No. Why? Because they can still be raped. It can still fucking happen to them, and they know it. They can still be overpowered. You know, it's unidirectional with women. And like, I am so fucking sick of it. Like,
I know.
the prison thing, like, it makes me sick to my stomach. And
I can't even believe that we're having the conversation. Like, I literally can't believe that this is even something that we're even having to do mental gymnastics around. It is so fucking insane. And I just look around and I'm just like, how the fuck are this many people? And then I'm like, I know how. It's rhetorical. I know, like, this is how intense like, it's like, what the fuck? And now you're still gonna vote for this same bullshit that, like, can you not fucking see what's gonna come down from this?
But can you not see that both sides have their own weird shit with women? One is actually more dangerous, in my opinion. And also, Trump believes in abortion. He's always been pro-choice. Yeah, with term
he said, take it back to the states,
which is what I think should happen.
Of course, everybody loses their fucking.
Not one fucking leftist talking about the Taliban in Afghanistan, how they enacted
I
all
was
those
just gonna
new
say,
rules.
that's
they're real quiet when it comes to that, right? And they want these people, this culture, to come into our fucking Western societies. They think that's compatible. What do they think is going to happen? You know, like, it makes no sense. Everything they do is so stupid, just bleeding hearts for no reason. You know, except when it actually comes to women's rights and protecting women's spaces and standing up for yourself.
It feels better when they're saying it, but there's no, like, it's just the social justice thing is just sickening.
No substance. It's no substance. It's all words. Then when you ask them the hard questions, they don't have answers, or like, oh yeah, but that's so rare. It doesn't matter if it's rare. It still happens. There are fucking prisons that have to put condoms now because there's fucking men in there. And don't get me wrong, if these men were actually eunuchs, if they had their bits removed, they really wouldn't be as much of a threat, a physical threat, yes, but they really wouldn't have the testosterone, so they probably wouldn't even be that violent. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't be a threat, but they're allowing men with intact penises into fucking women's prisons, and they don't even have to take hormones that suppress their libido. You know what I mean? Like any real tranny that's transitioning will tell you their libido is fucking down to nothing because they take estrogen and they suppress their own hormones. They're never in the mood. You know what I mean? And but these men who have full access, the female prisoners are actually the most vulnerable populations on planet Earth worldwide. Females in prison are the most vulnerable populations, and it actually goes against codes in the fucking Geneva Convention. During Nazi Germany, you could not house male prisoners with female prisoners. It goes against the fucking Geneva codes. And here we are in America fucking abusing the fucking shit out of women and telling them you don't matter, you have no fucking rights, you're a slave, you're less than nothing, and you have to accept these. It's beyond insane. And you ask them these, oh, they're real quiet. Crickets. They don't know what to say. Is that really happening? Are you sure that's happening? How many is it actually happening to? Does it matter? Does it matter? Does it matter if one lady can't get an abortion or
Hold on. I'm putting you back in.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. I thought maybe I did something, but
no, it just glitching probably my satellite. Yeah.
Glitch in the matrix.
A little glitch in the matrix right on time.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just so mad that women are only voting on this one thing. And I'm like,
I just think feminism, it's just got women, and I really don't, the mental gymnastics, I haven't accomplished how I get to the side of understanding, and I probably never will. I'm not built like
let
that.
me do a double backflip. Like,
I'm just not built like that. So I'm wired for truth and wired for critical thinking and wanting to, it just
cut through the core of it, like cut through the core of the matter. And like, yes, I get it. Abortion is a hot button issue, but there's so many more important things going on right now. Like there's so much at stake for America. To vote for somebody who was installed, that's another thing. Like this lady was literally installed as a candidate. Like nobody voted for her. And when we did vote for her in the primary, she got no fucking votes. Like when it was her and Biden,
she didn't
and stuff
make
like
it
that.
to Iowa.
No, she was also had horrible PR. Always, even like leftists couldn't really defend her as the vice president. They had like nothing good to say. Like I remember one time somebody was asking her what she does, and like she just kept laughing and she couldn't even answer like what her job. She just was cackling Kamala. You know, it's like I'm like, so y'all would rather vote for somebody who was installed by the elites, by the elite class. You didn't vote for her. You're the party of Save My Democracy, but you're voting for some bitch that didn't even have to go through the motions. You know what I mean? Like, didn't win fairly, was just propped up. Like,
and okay with it.
Like
cheering it on,
waving flags and shit. Like,
it's just
embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. And
is that all it takes?
What's that?
Is that all it takes? Like,
right. And then if you even address the difference between left and right city or blue and red cities, and you even bring up policies and that look at how democratically led cities are, it just falls on deaf ears, and people just still keep voting for it. And I suppose that's the power of the left-right pair of the divide. So I really am.
It's also the power of the propaganda. The wheels of propaganda belong to the left. All the celebrities, I mean, a large majority of celebrities, musicians, sports stars, pretty much all the newscasts except for Fox, like all of it is in lockstep with this side. And so like they feel like it's the popular thing, the right thing, because that's what
Yeah.
they're told. And like you said, they can't think critically. They can't even analyze. Like, I have no problem picking out the flaws of Trump and picking out things I don't like,
Yeah.
and like critically analyzing my own side. You know what I mean? I can voice those opinions. I don't feel like I have to like whisper them, like what I don't like about this fucking politician. I'll say that shit with my chest, you know, and it doesn't matter if
Yeah.
they're left or right. I have no
Yeah.
problem doing that, but they won't criticize their own side. They won't look at it with a magnifying glass. You know, they just vote blue no matter who. And I'm like, even if it's literally like totalitarianism, they're like, yep, vote blue no matter who. And I'm like, okay, even if it's leading us towards totalitarianism, they're like, yes, vote blue no matter who. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
God damn, like, I guess we gotta go
Yeah.
into totalitarianism. So this is what they wanted so bad. So let's do it, guys.
Well,
Come on.
it couldn't be their team that's
Oh
and
no,
the
no,
word Hitler's like, I don't
never.
even want to use
Oh
that
no,
word, but
only the other.
it couldn't
Only
be us that's coming for that's the bad guys coming to take all the rights away and ship everybody off. It's the orange man over there. And
the
it's
road
like,
to hell is paved with good intentions. They have good intentions. Oh, but they have good intentions at heart. What
yeah.
about the
And you
results?
realize
Like,
too that that's exactly they're preying on, and I've said this often about and it's not even just Christians, it's the whole love and light thing. It's the whole idea that you're exactly who they're going to take advantage of. They're preying on your good nature. They're preying on you not going underneath to look at how nefarious the truth really is and how uncomfortable and how dark the fucking truth is. And that's they're really counting on you continuing to be
good
uh
vibes only, good vibes
yeah,
only. La la la. I can't hear nothing
yeah,
bad. La 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 la.
yeah,
Like everything's hunky dory. Just keep smiling. But
yeah.
like the celebrity told me, I mean, that's who Taylor Swift is voting for. So like, like.
Exactly. And the
and
amount
then
of
and then and
money.
then they kill the messenger. Me and you talking, I would get heat. You know, they'd be like, "Damn, like that bitch has a lot to say, and her opinions are, I don't know if I agree with that." And it's like, okay, like don't kill the fucking messenger. I already said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right. I hope that this brings in the prosperity and world
Joy.
peace and
I hope it brings in a lot of joy.
joy for joy's sake. And that's another thing, like strength through joy was like a Nazi Germany
Yeah,
phrase. And you know,
flat
for
out.
a fucking fact, if Trump came out with this joy slogan, they would have made the connection fucking immediately. Oh, orange Hitler, strength through joy, that was what Hitler did. But when it's their side, la 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 la, no, she doesn't mean it like that. She means just like joy
She
and
means
happiness,
joy.
like
She means let's have strength through joy. Not what Hitler meant.
no, not that thing. That's for the
Yeah.
orange man. Only the
That's
orange man can do
yeah.
Hitlerian, Hitler-esque fucking.
Yeah.
God, give me a break. Even the
Yeah.
whole COVID thing, Hitlerian, fucking eugenics, like all of it. Like even the trans thing, eugenics. It's fucking
Mhm.
eugenics. We're sterilizing children. We've known for a long time that children can't fucking sign up to be experimented on, and all of these surgeries are experimental. Hitlerian, eugenics, totalitarian, but like no matter how
Mhm.
much you say it, they're just like, no, no, that's not true. And it's like they
Yeah.
can't say why it's not true. Why isn't it true? Because you're a racist. That's all they
Yeah.
have. That's all they
Yeah.
fucking have, is just like, I don't even like arguing with these people anymore because it's so easy to just fucking crush them mentally for me. But also it's just boring. I'm like, if all you're gonna do is call me names, like that's not a debate stance. That's not an argument point. Like
Mhm.
you're not using your wits. You know what I mean? You're not. It takes no cleverness. Takes no answers, no facts, and then they just delete me. That happened recently over something I posted with energy. Oh, so you think that we can just keep going on the way we're going? And I'm like, I don't know, but these solutions aren't solutions. And I was like, I'm sorry if this is news to you, but like it's the truth, and these are just trade-offs, and they come with a whole host of their own earth killing detrimental side
Mhm.
effects. And dude deleted me. Dude unfollowed me because I crushed his dreams uh about green energy. And I said green energy, and he said, I can't believe you put it in quotes like that. And I'm like, because it's not green. What are you talking about? And
Yeah.
instead of
Free
having a
energy isn't free.
instead of having a dialogue with me and like trying to find out or try to debate his point or like push some like points of his own, they just delete you and unfollow you as soon as you say something that they can't contend with. You know what I mean? Like that's their answer. Like, oh, this is just a bad racist right winger. I don't have to talk to her, delete. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, that fucking mentally weak ass people.
You know, I actually had an interesting interaction with a woman recently that she really actually, honestly, is afraid that racists are going to start running through the streets and taking everything from everyone. And I had to really stop, and it wasn't the kind of conversation that I needed to even really respond to. I didn't quite even know how to not respond. I'm sure that my face wasn't lying. I may have been trying to pull off like I'm not going to even have a facial response, but it was one of those moments where I realized there's a lot more of her out there than I would have thought.
And if you point out the group that is going through and looting businesses and robbing people, you're a racist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can't even point out the reality, the ridiculousness of their fears and how it is coming true, just not on the side that they want it to be on. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It is just mind blowing.
It's almost funny. It's kind of funny.
Because
it's so absurd.
If the end result wasn't so like just well, like it is funny. It is funny, but there's so many of them. That's where it becomes like the scary part. There's so many of them, and I'm just like I've always known that I was weird and on the outside, very heretical, very feral. So I've always seen the world quite differently. And I knew that there were differences, but now it is like living in the Matrix, like the movie where you literally are watching. And maybe that's why when we say, that BS show Live from Behind the Fan, and Dolores Cannon, who is a very well-known past life regression, that sort of thing. And she talks about a new earth, and that you will literally see those of us that are really focused on conscious capitalism, maybe is one way to say it, exchanging mutually beneficial energy, no initiation of force or fraud. Volunteerism is another word. For those of us that
freedom,
that's another great one. That they're literally
freedom.
Yeah, just some good old fashioned fucking freedom. That there are literally two earths that are living side by side with each other, and it honestly feels like that. And when you hear about like a vibrational match, it is very much functioning at truly a different vibration than so many people. And like a radio station, we're over here and it's just a totally different station. And you just think, or I thought anyway, like, okay, and I do think that the RFK stuff with Trump is a big deal. I think it's gonna help some people really actually see some stuff. I do believe that, to the level that it's like it's just everyone just not everyone, but a huge amount of people, because my concern is that they're still going to try to rig it. They're still gonna even, like I saw today, and I know this poll isn't true, that Kamala and Trump are polling like 1 point away from each other, and it's like, nobody that I know, nobody that anybody anywhere I'm seeing is going to vote for this woman. So, and not that I know a gazillion people, but in all the thread, like on X, everything that I've been reading everywhere, everybody's like, she doesn't have it. So if she wins, it's not going to be, and that's obvious. I mean,
She definitely doesn't have it. And there's like also a reason why she hasn't come out with her policies yet. And apparently, like some like, you know, higher up Democrats, congressional Democrats said they actually didn't want her to come out with her
Yeah,
policies until after the election. And I'm like, wait a
yeah,
second. So people are going to vote for her and they don't even know what
yeah,
kind of policies she backs,
yeah.
like how she
And
backs snatching patents and
CNN today said, I watched a clip where they said, well, we don't think she should. So they're totally supporting it. CNN has exclusive coverage to the campaign. And flat out said, like on the platform, this what's the newsroom, they said, oh no, so totally supporting it. I can't even believe that people would watch CNN for their news, but whatever.
the
I
fact
know.
that this lady could totally stand for basically anything, shit that you are
Yeah.
violently opposed to, and you're still just going to vote for her because she is the installed fucking candidate and she believes in abortion. Like, great. You want a fucking cookie or something? Who cares about abortion when females are literally being erased and we're literally, you can't even define what a woman is, but you're the party of women's rights, but you can't even define what a woman is. If you can't define what a woman is, how can you define what a woman's right is? You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's so fucking, it's anal retentive. It is so fucking backwards and psychotically hypocrite that people will vote for somebody. They don't even know what she stands for. They don't know what her policies are. They don't fucking know anything about her. All they know is that the elitist party of Democrats in lockstep have gotten behind this character because she is, all she does is laugh. She cackles at fucking everything and she makes the most word vomit, word salad, fucking, she speaks in riddles and rhymes and shit. And like, she always sounds like she's talking to 5 years. Hi, how's everybody doing today? Hi. Like, she
See,
talks to us like we're fucking children. And I'm like, again, it insults my intelligence. It insults my soul. Like, she is a soulless, she is literally just an empty vessel that they could pour anything into and she will do it. She will do what she's told, you know? So it's like, I just don't get the race, all the race card shit and the how they have to do that. They have to pander. They have to do all this shit. They have to get every celebrity out to make it a big fucking rap concert or whatever. You know what I mean? Instead of a
and what an
DNC with,
embarrassment. Did you see I don't
I
even know who
actually
the
couldn't even watch
performer
it.
was. I
I
just
couldn't
saw
watch
some
it.
video. It was awful.
I could not even watch, like, I saw a few clips, like reels
Yeah,
that were
that's how
under
I
like
was.
30 seconds. And I just
That's how I
couldn't.
was. I
Some of
couldn't.
those I couldn't even get through. I had to just fucking like, I cringed. And like, don't get me wrong, the RNC was cringy as fuck with Hulk
Yeah,
Hogan, but at least they
yeah.
talked about brass tacks. They talked about policy. They didn't just sit there and fucking fearmonger the whole time about
Yeah.
like certain
It was a
issues, you
church
know.
service, so I mean, it came with its own ridiculousness and its own depressing, and there was still the feel of course, war, and so I wasn't, I just was, I was uncomfortable. Like, I could at least kind of watch the whole Colgan stuff, watch parts of it, and
It was funny. At least it was funny. Shit, I
I
laughed.
mean, there was something that kept my attention a little more. The DNC was like you, uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable watching her. I'm uncomfortable. I suppose because it's so transparent, like that it's like, ugh, you are you are everything that should not be here on the planet. Like you are.
It's so fake. It's so performative. She doesn't stand for anything. She
Yeah.
stands for everything and nothing all at once. And like I said, she's just an empty vessel. And I
Mhm.
personally, I don't like that in a politician. Even Bernie Sanders, who I disagree with like 99% of the
Yeah.
shit that he says, at least he kind of has, he is who he is. And like these are his talking points. This is what he believes in. These are the policies that he votes for. But it's out on the table. You know who he is. You know what kind of politician he is. He's not an empty vessel. He actually does have some standards. He stands for something, even if I
Yeah.
necessarily don't agree with him. You know, but
Well,
at
we
least
watched was it you that sent me the interview, or was it me that sent it to you, or he was
I think
actually
you sent
there,
it
he
to
was
me.
speaking some truth. And it
Yeah.
was like, okay, like that's I'm and yeah, I mean, they did him wrong.
But
I
my
mean,
whole point is even though that's a politician I don't agree with, at least he stands for something,
yeah,
you know, like, and he voices that, and he's kind of always been that way
yeah,
ever since he was like a young buck coming into politics. He's kind of always had these beliefs. But Kamala, she's an empty vessel. She's a cop. Now she fucking abused black people, kept people, black men
yeah,
in prison longer than they needed to be, so to use them for free labor. She's all this shit. But now she's some uh women's rights and black rights, and now she's
yeah,
all, it's like she's not anything. She doesn't stand for
nothing,
anything, and that scares me,
nothing.
because those are the people that can be bought and paid for. Those are the empty vessels, and those are the puppets with fucking strings attached, you know what I mean? Like, red flag,
Absolutely,
biggest red flag when it comes to a
absolutely.
politician is somebody who doesn't stand for anything, you know, like,
Yeah, it's not even hiding the psychopathy and the dark triad. I mean, you just look up there. It's like, oh, you want to know what dark triad is? Look at the government right now. That's your dark triad. That's your. They're gaslighting you. You're enmeshed. You're in a trauma bond. You've got Stockholm syndrome. You know all the stuff and fucking things, man.
yeah, it's literally like the ingredients of a psychopath. Like, that's the
Yeah,
dark triad. It's like a little bit of narcissism, a little bit of
Machiavellianism.
apathy,
Yeah,
Machiavellianism. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It's like, poof, here we go. Now we
Here
have
we
a
go.
fucking
You wanted to know, you wanted to know what a dark triad is. Just look at what's happening with powers that be over your brain, and how easily they don't need you don't need a private or a dark ops military program anymore. They've got the TV, and you're mind controlled, and you don't even
you don't recognize
MK
it.
Ultra.
Trauma
We
bond.
all
Yes, we all are. Like, I mean, 9/11 was a mass trauma. It was a mass
absolutely.
MK Ultra on the masses.
That's what woke me up. That's what I was living in LA when that happened, and I was doing the Santa Monica stairs that morning, and I never went back to, and I think I was probably already awake before then to things. I just didn't know that that's what it was,
Right.
because I have had kind of a feral life on the outskirts of a lot of things, so I have had kind of a different view. But I remember when that happened, that I was like, I remember first thing I thought was, I wonder what the art's going to look like from this time, this phase in history, what the art will be. That was one of the first things that went through my mind. But then I started having, I started getting visions of like future risk, like borders, like fenced off parts of the city. And I didn't know why I was getting those just visions after the 9/11, and then it would reveal itself. I mean, now with Hunger Games, why I was getting those sort of visions then. But I never stopped wanting more truth and information about. Again, I think this goes to a certain personality type where you don't really have a choice but to pursue truth. And I think I have just enough like neurodivergence where truth is like, I I'm not wired to not. I, I, I'm not saying it right.
I mean, I was in high school when it happened, so I definitely wasn't like awake yet. But like, as that war went on, and like the search for mass or weapons of mass destructions or whatever, weapons of mass destruction, and then when it
Yeah,
came out that they didn't have any and all that
yeah,
shit, and you realize that like all these wars were just a continuation for resources, and they keep us in them, and like they need our permission to do it. So like the fact that our own government could have perpetrated something like this against our own people just to keep us and get us involved in these never-ending wars that literally there was no end in sight. There was never any amount of terrorists that we could kill that would have been enough, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, while I think a lot of those nations are barbaric and they practice barbarism and the way they treat women is horrible, I still don't want to be their fucking policeman. We are not the world's policeman. We
yeah.
should
Nor
not be
should we.
policing the
No.
world. We should be policing our own borders. We should be protecting our own fucking nationality, our own heritage, our own culture, instead of trying to spread Western culture all over the fucking world. Like, look at how much it's backfired, you know? And it's just, that was
Yeah,
kind of, once I realized that like the Bush and all that shit was just And then after Obama, he was supposed to change everything, and then it was just more of the same. He never ended anything. It's crazy that it took Trump to kind of like make the Afghans back out, even though it didn't happen under him. But like, it took somebody like him who wasn't bought and paid for by these deep state, by the CIA, by the fucking weapons contractors, like Dick Cheney, all of them, in bed with like Lockheed Martin or whatever. They're like all of their own. They all got rich off weapons manufacturing. Like, it makes me feel sick, man. Like, and the fact that they can do insider trading. They don't have term limits. Like, all of this shit is stuff that is within our reach to change. And why don't we? That would literally prevent half the government corruption if they weren't allowed to trade stocks while they were in the government. And if they had fucking 4-year term limits, all of them, every fucking politician.
We've said this before when the stock market stuff happened. How invested are you in war? And
Not very.
so, and where do you fit in that Ponzi scheme? And how invested are you in keeping that afloat rather than really doing the right thing by your fucking fellow man? I mean, at this point, especially when I hear people talk, and this is more in like scholarly crowds where they're talking about the Federal Reserve and the this and that, and it's like, okay, fuck off. You're just mentally masturbating right now. Everybody, not everybody, but the people that are involved in this, in the discussions, everybody knows. But that would mean that you'd have to go look in the fucking mirror and look at your stock portfolio. You'd actually have to fucking do something about it rather than mentally masturbate about the complications of our economy and how war and this, like, it's like, okay, keep mentally masturbating, or and maybe that's why certain subjects that are coming out right now, like, or even, okay, because I said this on a show before, when maybe this is going too far off topic. In my brain, they're going to connect dots, but I
love it.
when I said that, like, Tate and Candace Owens and going and talking out, because Candace has been talking about some interesting things too, but then you look at it and it's like the real subject, like, war is your church. Like, you're really not getting to the core issues, but you're, as gatekeepers, now you're allowed to talk about things we were talking about 25 years ago, and or 20, however long. But now that's what's okay from the gatekeepers. But at the truth of it, at the end of it, like, you really can't talk about the real truth of it. Like, she came out and said some stuff about I just totally took us off complete topic. I don't even, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. We were talking about war. I think
well, okay. So, but at the end of the day, all these subjects, I mean, you can only get so far.
Well, they also dance around the things that are like important. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, it's great to expose all this shit, but at the end of the day, how is that, like, how is that helping us? How is that empowering humanity? How is that empowering us to make decisions about XYZ? Like, even the Tate thing, like, that shit's all gross. That dude's so sleazy. Everybody knows it. He is so gross. And also, like, bro, your jawline is not strong enough to be talking like that. Sorry, but like, maybe do some mewing exercises with the kids are talking about, because you have no chin. And
so Candace did an interview with him, and she's
which is weird, because isn't he like Muslim or something? Like,
yeah. And so, okay, so you got the 3 monotheistic religions. So you've got your players that are, here's this one, here's that one. We've got all the religions covered with some main players right now, and the trafficking issue comes up, and you've got a Candace Owens she says she's looked at stuff. She doesn't like some of the stuff he's done, and I agree, he should get a fair trial, this sort of thing. But she's sticking up for him, and she claims the whole mother. I'm a mother and I care about these issues and trafficking, but yet you're Catholic, and you're really, to me, you're not really going in to the true the things that need to really be talked about. It's like the Federal Reserve, like people will skirt around it. Well, yeah, we know it needs to be investigated. It's clear that our money system is like, well, okay, there really are answers to this. There are discussions, but it's just consistent mental masturbation. And it's very frustrating when those are the core subjects, those are the core issues, like the Federal Reserve, trafficking, getting to the real core issues of it. But it always gets smoke and mirrored. Nothing gets done. It gets Me Too'd, it gets Epsteined, it just gets hijacked. And then it just feels gross
It also
to,
kind of feels like a different type of bread and circuses, something to distract us
yeah.
from like the meat and potatoes of like how we actually solve these issues. And like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, don't get me wrong, I don't like saying like, oh, all Catholics this, even all Muslims don't believe in like this weird Sharia law shit, or like
Of
women
course,
being
of
mass.
course. And
You know what I
I
mean? But
need
it's like,
to,
but
yeah.
it's like that's great. I can learn about that all day long, and even like New World Order, and that did help me put the puzzle pieces together and like who the players are, why this shit is happening, what their goal is. But like, how is this empowering us to stop it? You know what I mean? Or make the changes, like just making us aware of it and then making us freaked out about it and focus on that and
Like,
going down a rabbit hole. It's just another form of distraction.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's another way also of like disassociation, like to
yeah,
check out, to go into a different place that's like not
yeah,
reality. Now you're like going down this rabbit hole and you're learning all this new information, but it's like,
yeah.
for what? I hate to say it like that. I mean, I do think it's good to go down rabbit holes and like expose things and stuff, but if you're only exposing it and then only exposing bits and pieces here and there, like it's like, but again, you're not being self-critical. You're not looking at all of the fucking crimes that the Catholic Church has perpetrated like throughout history, how the Catholic Church was literally ruled by cross and by crown, and they held it over people's head and wouldn't let fucking peasants learn how to read, and they
Mm-hmm.
used religion as a fucking crook and as a fucking tool to smash people over the head with. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
you're discrediting all this. Great, you can go down all these rabbit holes, but you can't go down the rabbit hole of the Vatican or all the fucking
right.
stolen artifacts that they have. And like
Exactly.
you can't hold a magnifying glass, a little bit of self-critical analysis on your own beliefs, which is very important. It could also help you strengthen your belief when you're self-critical and you're like, yeah, well, let us go deep in that too, and like how clearly, that there's been major harms or whatever, but she won't expose that, right? She'll only expose about the Jewish whatever, and
Yeah.
like the conspiracy. And it's like, then we have to listen to this Jewish person talk about the Catholic fucking
And
crime.
that's
You know
all,
what I
and
mean?
to me, that's all it does is just riles it up instead of having, like, because there's not a solution. It's just more, it's more of the divine
Division.
positive
It's more
here.
division. Yeah,
Hmm.
you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I just think that this Tate is just a fucking buffoon. This whole red pill stuff is just fucking ridiculous. It drives me fucking nuts. I
I
just
mean,
think it's,
I understand it. It drives me as nuts as the hardcore, like fourth wave feminism drives me, because it is a fucking pendulum. The harder the feminists swung to the left, the further these fucking red pill, like there is an equal and opposite action
yep.
reaction. The more they create this, the more it's going to push people to the opposite end to create fucking division. And it's so hard to be in the middle ground, to be like, well, feminism did work, especially like first wave feminism was
Mhm.
there for a reason. You know what I mean? But then like then and men have, I do like men and masculinity. You know what I mean? Like there's a nice healthy
Sure.
middle ground there, but everything is so fucking divisive that you have to pick one side or the other, and you actually can't be in the middle. And if you are in the middle, then you're just a fucking fence sitter, or you're a
Mhm.
bigot. You know what I mean? Regardless, like, no, that's how you want to associate. You know what I mean? It's just like you can't win. And
Mhm.
the red pill shit is gross. The hardcore feminism is gross. Like it's all just like so divisive, polarizing, and also low key like evil. Like both sides have
Yeah.
gone so far that it's gross on either end. It's horseshoe
Yeah.
theory. Really, they're more aligned than the people at the center. Here's the left and the right,
Mhm.
and the people at the center are way fucking down here, way further away from both sides. And it's like, shit, man, it's just the pendulum. So it's like, how do we walk it back on both sides, you know, like how do we kind of walk back some of this shit towards the center? Like,
well, I think in in one way you said it earlier, like, does it have to get that bad? Like I
think it
mean,
does.
I do too, and um you know, I've said it so many times that like it's about going inside and having the archetypical, like sitting your archetypes down and having the like the war inside you. And why are you so viscerally connected? Like I will never be able to comprehend how your God is like killing, like you're justifying first off undeclared wars, so there's no real threat. This is all, it's all fucking made up shit to control everyone through fear. And I I just don't know how. Well, let me rephrase that. I know how this. I mean, that's not true. That's how powerful archetypical and epigenetic trauma is, and how these archetypical stories are so deeply embedded in the psyche. And I, I do believe that there's. I do believe that there's just a new Earth that's being built right alongside the one that's destroying itself. I also believe that
That's like
if,
parallel and competing ideas, right? Like,
yeah. So I do, you know, I do think that there's going to be, well, I certainly don't want to see it go the way of Kamala Harris. I don't love the idea of Trump, but I definitely do not want a Kamala Harris administration, or anything of it.
I think it's just going to invite so much worldwide chaos and turmoil. They're
Mhm.
going to constantly be testing her. The first female president, they're all the world leaders are already going to know that she was installed.
Yeah.
And I think that she will kind of do to them what she does to us, just cackle when they want to meet with her or ask like serious hardline questions. I think that they will test the boundaries. I think that they, like, China will make a move on Taiwan, and Russia will further, you know, the Ukraine agenda, and like I think South American countries are going to get buck wild. Like I think it's going to be really fucking crazy, and it's all going to be because she's weak. Everybody knows she's weak. They're going to test the boundaries. And everyone's like, "Oh, Trump's a bully." I want that. I want a fucking bully on the world stage. I want people that are too fucking scared to cross America. I want that. That doesn't scare me. What scares me is world leaders fucking laughing at us and thinking it's hilarious, and they're gonna fucking provoke wars because we have a weakling in office. You know what I
And
mean?
how
Like,
delusional people are that it's, you know, narcissist. It's like, okay, your labels, first off, those words mean nothing anymore. So when you're throwing them around, they fall on deaf ears. When it comes to me, they've lost their meaning.
it's been
Um,
watered down. It doesn't even mean
but
anything
you
anymore.
know, emotions are not, he's a nice guy. She's so nice. She's full of joy.
What
And
does
it's
that
just,
mean? What does nice mean? It's the same as those guys who are like, "I'm a nice guy. Why can I never find anybody?" Probably because you're not a fucking nice guy. And women have an intuition. And they feel that there's something off
mhm,
about you, because there is,
mhm,
because you secretly fucking resent us, and we
mhm,
can pinpoint that from a mile away. And so
mhm,
you can put on this nice, "I'm just a
mhm,
nice normal guy" all fucking day long, but women know otherwise, and we know you're not, which is why they shun
mhm,
you over and over and don't pick you, because there's something about you that is predatory that we can fucking sense. And it's the same with the
mhm.
Dems, same with the Tim Walz guy. There is something
Yeah,
behind his fucking eyes that is
yeah.
like Revenge of the Nerds type of deal, like this fucking resentment, this, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like it. It
I
scares
don't like
me.
him at all. He gives me, he just, and his wife looked just kind of miserable. And his son, I did see the clip where it looked like he did
That's
look like
my
he yanked his
bad.
hand. Now I stepped out of that one and thought maybe because of his autism that it was more of a
It's
no,
like
we're going this
directing
way.
him.
So it was a
Yeah.
direction thing rather than a pulling thing. I did it didn't quite go with the abusive that I saw people saying. So that didn't hit me. It's something about his beady little creepy dad of the year. I'm always just so creeped out by men that like
performative. It's performative.
yeah.
It's very outward, and like also the fact that they're like going with that, like that he's just a nice guy, America's dad. Like that's the talking point. That's what they're running with. That immediately
He locked
makes
down
me.
his city and let it burn.
I mean, there's just something about it that makes me
Or he
want to
didn't
like
not lock
go.
down his city, but let it burn, not lock it down. But
No, but I think they did during COVID, and he had those hotlines and like,
I
I don't
I
know,
did. I
man.
saw they were shooting actually rubber bullets into. That's right. They
Mm.
did get a little. They he. Ugh. It's just controlling people by nature. Just micromanagement.
Through optics, even though like the way that they're portraying these people as just nice normal people immediately makes me think that they're not nice normal people, that these are puppets, these are people that want power, and they want to wield
Mhm.
their power against their enemies, and they fucking do. The fact that he was saying that shit about the First Amendment, like a little
Yeah.
weird backhanded, oh well,
Yeah.
that's not guaranteed. Actually, it fucking is. It
Yeah.
literally is. That's the point of it. And that is like the number one thing that makes Western culture is free speech. You know what I mean? Like that is basically it. And once you start taking that away, censorship style, like it will create hell on earth, because you don't want to
Yeah.
hurt people's feelings. You don't want to hurt people's feelings with words, but you'll fucking throw them in a gulag. You'll throw them in jail for 5 years.
Mhm.
That's okay to literally destroy people's lives, but you can't hurt a leftist's feelings. Like,
Feelings, because you're feeling. Yeah.
yeah, because
It's
that's
it's
violence. Words are violence. Physical violence, tyrannical government violence. That's not violence. Words are violence. Like, no, these people that go along with that and really think that have obviously never been hit in the fucking face against their will, because if they did, they would know what fucking violence is. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I hate to say it, like, I know what fucking violence is, which is
Yeah.
why I let words brush off of me. And there's nothing anybody can say to me that I haven't already said to myself or thought about myself. So words don't really hurt me. They can't touch me. You know what I mean? But you know what can touch me is like physical violence. That
Yeah.
is violence. Like thought crimes are not crimes. Like that is 1984 shit, textbook. Like
Yeah.
support your local thought police. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
that's what's so the fact that people can't see, it's like, oh, it's gonna come for everybody. And I don't know where the fuck you think that like you've never had a thought before of like come on.
oh
This
no,
is
they're
not where
perfect. Oh,
this
I
is
would
not where
never.
we want to go.
But it is. As long as it's their side that is emboldened and empowered, and the
Yeah.
ones that are holding the reins and wielding it, they really think that you can enact utopia without tyranny. You can't. It's been tried before. Every
Yeah.
person who tries to enact their version of utopia create a living hell for somebody else. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
turns tyrannical. You can't have perfection, a perfect world where everybody's happy and everything, because we don't live in it's going against not only human nature, it's going against physical nature. Look at the
Yeah.
fucking natural world. Look at the way animals operate. Look at the way the cheetah fucking kills the gazelle or whatever. Like we do not live in a perfect world, and anytime you try to create one, it will create a living fucking tyrannical hell, because you
Mhm.
can't do it. There is no such thing as perfect. This is the closest there is.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and that's sad. That's really saying something, that this is the closest we can get to utopia and perfection, is a free market, free speech system where the people have protections against a tyrannical government. You know, like outside of that, we're all fucking slaves to the state. Like,
Absolutely.
but they want it.
Absolutely.
They're like, dominate me harder, daddy government. And I'm just like, oh God, like they're not
Yeah.
gonna save you. Like no one's coming to save you. Like,
Yeah. That's
but like we already said, I think it kind of has to happen. I think that
yeah.
in order to enact the change to like be the catalyst that really wakes people up. I think it has to get a little bit tyrannical in order for people to be like, oh shit, I did embolden my side to become tyrannical, to
Mhm.
push my own ideals and views onto people that disagreed with me, you know? Because
Well,
ultimately
now
that's
I
what
hope
it
that
is.
there's going to be a huge push just to as much to get it in the media, the message that's coming from RFK and Trump now with the health. It just to really and Jimmy Dore did a
I love him.
yeah, he did a nice piece on it. It really he's a good voice for that side and putting it out there, and hopefully that's going to get um, more traction and just get into people's minds that those of us over here that have been talking about these crazy conspiracies, it's not crazy
But is
conspiracy. And
it so hard to believe that your side is fallible and capable of atrocity? Is it really that hard to believe? Like, that's the part that's weird to me is I know that government on the left or the right, it doesn't fucking matter where the government falls
yeah,
on the political spectrum. They are capable of great fucking evil. And I know that, which is why I'm so willing to critically analyze my own fucking side, my own fucking beliefs, because they are capable, they have the power. So
hmm
like all these Democrats who are just like, no, we would never be tyrannical, like you really don't think that? Like you don't think that you're fallible, you don't think your ideals are fallible, you don't think that your side is fallible in some way, prone to corruption, or capable of being corrupted with power. Like that is so crazy to me. That's like
yeah,
rule number one. That is what the fucking Lord of the Rings about is ultimate power corrupts. You know what I mean? No matter who holds it. Could be the nicest little fucking hobbit in the world. All of a sudden they turn into a fucking ring wraith. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
when you hold the power,
hmm
you are very easily and capable of being corrupted. And it slants actually towards corruption. It doesn't slant towards the other way. It leans towards whoever holds the power, leans towards fucking corruption and abusing power. Like that is just, for me, that's common sense, you know?
Yeah.
But to these people, no, their side could never, be
hmm
fascistic or enact tyrannical laws. Well, they could
hmm
never do that. And that's the part that scares me, that if you don't even know that you're capable of that,
hmm
that scares me. That fucking scares me, man.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts that are very interesting right now. And I know that it's less than 70 days or maybe
Yeah.
70 days until the election.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ooh, I just got the chills.
I know I just got into, I
Mm.
think that we could see, I just got popcorn rating. I think it's just going to be a spectacle and it's just going to get more and more. Yeah.
Get the popcorn. Get
Yeah.
the
We might have to start doing a show twice a week.
Get the Swedish fish. Let's do. I mean, shit. I'm gonna be the dudes on
So
the
we
Titanic.
have
The band
someone
like playing
watching.
as the band goes
Yeah,
down.
we
Like,
have someone watching that says Sarah Jean for president.
no, I would never want that power. That's the problem. Is
Yeah.
all the people who don't want the power don't fucking
Yeah.
run for political office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
the only people that want power and crave power and want to use it and wield it. Those are the people. That's why it attracts dark triads, psychopathic,
Yeah.
sociopathic, Machiavellian. Like,
Yeah. 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 And I guess that it seems so obvious to us. Like, yeah, it's psychopath, like psychopaths. Why wouldn't it? And people are, oh, but I love her. Oh my God. But what do you love about her? Well,
I don't
she's
know.
black.
She
Is she
talks.
or is she Indian? What is she this
She
week?
wants joy. She likes
She's
joy.
yeah, she's gonna bring joy. I mean,
I'm
that's why I
like,
love her.
okay, oh, how is she gonna do that? And they're like, well, she said that she was gonna bring joy. Okay, but how? Like, what are the policies that are gonna bring the joy? Like, and does
She's gonna
joy
tell
mean
us after she gets
does joy
elected.
mean middle class? What does joy mean? Like, she's gonna bring
Yeah,
joy? For
yeah.
whom?
It is. It,
It's dystopian. We're living in a fucking
yeah,
dystopian reality. And
yeah.
I hate that we're like viewers of it, but I'm also
Jesus.
glad that I'm aware of it. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather be aware of our dystopian reality than one of these fucking NPCs that's just like the government loves us. Vote blue no matter who.
Right.
Like
Yeah. You did that well. Did you? Did you had that moved down?
my robot. Yeah, I practice a lot at all the people that I see online.
Yeah. It's so weird. It is so surreal and weird, and that like that this is real life.
It is. I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad that I have a cool tribe of people. I'm glad I have you.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have like other friends. My family is like
Yeah.
they're fucking based. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, we've been at this quite a long time. I mean, gosh, we've known each other for 10 years, but we've done interviews here. And so this is stuff that we enjoy this.
yeah,
This
I mean,
and
we'll talk about this without the show. That's why we did it because we're like, damn, maybe we should let other people hear these
yeah,
conversations, you know?
yeah, that's exactly. It felt it would be very cathartic for us to do this because it is cathartic.
Exactly. It is
It is,
cathartic.
but I'm definitely glad that we have the, the support around us that we feel pretty comfortable in our friendships and our we have people we could reach out to and discuss these things, and
And
so
I
it is.
also have people who don't agree with me, but they're still my
Yeah,
friend and they can actually, I mean, even if they don't agree with me, like my very best friend, I'm not trying to say names, but he's like, I don't agree with you on everything. He's like, but sometimes you talk about shit and he's like, God damn, like she's right. You know what I mean? He's like, I
yep,
wish she wasn't right, but she's fucking right.
yep,
Like at least
yeah,
about this, she is, so it's like, I can pretty much find common ground. I'm friends with a lot of different type of people. Like even at my birthday party, I had a whole
yeah,
gay people, men, women, Jews, pro-Palestine people, Middle Eastern people, a fucking cop, U.S. Marshal. I have just like people everywhere because I like that. I'm like that. I'm multifaceted. I don't believe in just one fucking thing. So I would hope that like my friends would kind of also represent that. And I feel like they do for the most part. And like I like that. Like I don't have to agree with people in order to be friends with them or love them because I think people are more than just their political opinions. Like I hate that that is
sure.
the end all be all what will get you canceled when it's like we're all multifaceted. I believe a lot of different things about a lot of different things. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's like I probably agree with people more than I don't, but if I disagree with you on this one thing, that means we're incompatible and I'm
yeah,
a bad person or whatever. Like I've never judged people along those lines, maybe because I grew up in a fucking poor neighborhood, like just not
yeah,
a lot of stuff. And like I had to look at people as individuals, not as like what they have or,
mhm,
this one thing that is going to totally
yeah.
encompass their whole being. I hate that. It's so
I
stupid. I'm
will say
morbid.
though that this election, if you still vote blue and you don't speak up about this, it's going to change my opinion with for a minute. It's not going to change my friendships, but it's going to, first off, it tells me that you don't care. You just voted just because, so you didn't pay attention to anything. And
Single ticket issue.
yeah. And so it's going to bother me for and truth be told, I won't ask.
I don't ask. I can already tell usually who people are voting for, but I don't ask and I don't pry, you
Yeah,
know.
I'm not going to, but I have a feeling that they won't.
Well,
RFK joining
one, I try
RFK
not to
joining
do that
Trump.
because I feel like it feeds into the division. I feel like that's what they want, and I'm not going to do that. Like, I do know that there are people that are voting for Kamala that are single issue, usually about abortion. I get it. I think that it sucks for women and also to be on this side of like women because I kind of get why they feel that way, only because for the longest time, reproduction is basically one of the tools that was used to trap women, to keep us where we were, to but at the other end, I'm like, but Trump doesn't even want to ban abortion. He wants to leave it
And
to
that's my
states'
point.
rights.
So if it's a single ticket issue, if it's a single issue vote, then you haven't done your fucking research.
And it's
If you
like, you
can't,
already live in California. Like, what do you think is going to happen to you? You're mad about the girls in Arkansas? Okay, well, do you bring that much energy to the fucking Taliban shit in Afghanistan? Because that affects you just about the same amount as it affects, you know what I mean? The girls that are in a
yeah,
different
and we
state
have
or
50
whatever.
states.
I mean,
So
I think that we should be little countries. You should go somewhere that
kind of
mirrors
want to
your
be in the
values.
state that best represents you. And if abortion is anyway, I know that it's a hot topic, it's a hot button issue for a reason. But then at the end of the day, it's like, well, government shouldn't be involved in that. So your argument lands on deaf ears with
It's
me. And then
moot. Yeah,
also,
it's
you
moot to
haven't done your
me.
research on who even started abortion and eugenicists, and then you like, and now you're not connecting dots of
And even
history.
and even Roe v. Wade. Oh, I love when that whole thing collapsed or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, that's right, because 9 men can decide reproduction rights for women. I'm like, that's what literally Roe v. Wade was. It was 9 men that got together and fucking decided your rights. So what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, that is what happened in the first place. Like,
Yeah,
like none of it makes sense when you fucking
no,
break it down into
it
smaller
doesn't.
parts. Like, it's all so stupid. And I'm like, I'm sorry, there are more important things right now. Like, literally a fucking tyrannical government is more scary to me than abortion shit. It is. I'm sorry. More a totalitarian government enforcing tyranny on a whole fucking populace and literally making us fucking poor is more important than abortion right now to me. Also,
And that's what I'm saying about with, and I'm not going to pry. I'm not anything like that, but it would, if
I get it.
you,
It makes you form an opinion about people, and that's okay. You know what I mean?
yeah, and also the fact that, I mean, if you saw the RFK, if you saw the speech, if you saw and you listened and you've even followed him on another interview, and you don't see the importance of stepping outside of yourself and the orange man and the superficial stuff, and you don't, like, you're 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 going to get the government you deserve, and I'm pissed about that because I didn't
I
deserve
don't
it.
deserve that.
I
Yeah, I
don't
don't deserve
deserve
it.
it.
You do because you voted for it, but I don't. You know what I mean?
And that's, I
and
truly,
then
I
just the
feel
whole
like that.
farce of, oh, our body, our choice, except when it comes to experimental vaccines that literal, like, animal vaccines have more research on, have more years of research than these ones. Like, so especially the way that it's applied, a lot of women aren't like that. A lot of women are across the board like, no, we don't think that was right. But a lot of these leftists don't think that's part of my body, my choice. And I'm like, really making a medical decision that they don't even know what the fuck it does. It affected women's periods. Gave a lot of people fucking blood clots and
These
cardiac
turbo
arrests.
cancers and the rates of these things, I mean, I don't know how people can deny that. And, well, I do know. Can you
I also
imagine?
had
And we've said this before, but
it's
can
too
you
hard
imagine
to
having
admit.
that in your body right now and having all
No.
this information come out? The mental gymnastics that you would have to do to not sit and have that be in the back of your mind,
And
if
you're
not
still
every day,
justifying it.
almost
You're
every
still
day.
justifying it for a fucking vaccine that did not prevent transmission and it did not prevent you from contracting the disease. Like, I'm sorry, that's not a fucking vaccine. It's not. It didn't prevent either of it, contraction or transmission. How is that a fucking vaccine that is viable? It's not. It's not. And then they think you have to have some fucking biochem fucking degree on your wall in order to understand it. I don't have to be a fucking learned doctor in order to understand what an animal vector virus is and all the diseases that we have cured, polio, shit like that. It was only transmissible from human to human. Anything that's transmissible from human to animal can fucking mutate and then come back differently, and the vaccine isn't going to work. You can't eradicate diseases like that. You fucking can't. You cannot. It's not possible. So the fact that they were trying to fucking convince me otherwise and say, oh, well, you're just stupid, uneducated. You don't know. No, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about because you don't understand. Don't insult I get it. I get how diseases are cured and how certain diseases have been eradicated because they were only human to human transmission. That fucking makes sense. Don't insult me just because you are stupid and you're a coward and you're fucking scared and you
Mm-hmm.
believe everything these people in white lab coats, oh,
Mm-hmm.
authorities, oh, they're an authority. Fuck you. I submit to my own authority,
Mm-hmm.
not
Yep.
others' authority, not the government, not a fucking doctor, nobody. My own authority is what I pass my judgment through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
just so sick of it. Oh, but that's okay. But then when it comes to abortion, that's the end all be all. If you can't even get your fucking values straight, then I
Yeah.
will not take you seriously. I don't
Yeah.
take you seriously. Like,
Yeah.
great. I'm so glad you believe in my body, my choice, only for abortion for women, and that's it. I don't.
Yeah.
I would like to expand upon that.
Yeah. I just think I just find it repulsive as
All of
just,
it.
it's just, abortion is just not one of those. I just, it just sickens me that it's become just this. Anyway,
A farce. Yeah, it's a
it's just
farce.
one of those. It just hurts my heart, and I just
Yeah, I mean, like we've been saying, y'all, like we're just gonna have. I think that we're gonna have to experience a little bit of tyranny, maybe in order to really wake up, because I don't know what else is gonna wake people up. You know, I don't know what else is gonna make people stop and say, "Oh, you know what? We were capable of great violence." Like
Mhm.
they're gonna have to see it, go through it, possibly participate in it, feel sick to their stomach about turning in their fucking neighbor to the Gestapo or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and again, I'm not going to be happy about it because I didn't want to participate in this. I did not vote for this.
yeah,
I don't want it. But if you're going to bring it on me, then fuck, I'm at least going to laugh at you as we find out these results, you know, like,
yeah. I
at least you're out in the boonies. Shit.
yeah, yeah. There is some peace of mind, um, location wise.
Protection. Mm-hmm.
Location wise, I think for me it becomes, um, well, I think for anybody that's not wealthy, it becomes, is it, should I get a bartending job? You know, I mean, are there things that like that and I actually have a couple applications because I thought, my hate prices are already
Through the roof.
fucking, they're just through the roof. And so, I do have a business that probably has the most expensive overhead you could you could have.
It's
And so
true.
I have to be realistic in saying that things might get really fucked up for a few years, if not a few more. And it may not be that while there's plenty of trauma, it may not be that traffic coming in and out of places is the same, and that so being prepared to be like, yeah, if I have to go scrub toilets, I will.
Yeah.
My horses are not going to starve. My horses are not going to, like, I will,
Yeah.
I've
Where
also
there's a
said,
will, there's a way, you know,
yeah,
and it's
I
like,
mean, I've made jokes like there's not, like, I wouldn't do certain things in the past, or just certain things, but never say never is what I'm saying.
oh, I've
Uh,
learned that the hard way. I learned that
right.
the way hard way. Never say never.
Never say
Definitely.
never. And, um, so if I have to go scrub toilets, or I have to go work at a grocery store or whatever, I mean, there's not a whole lot of shit here, but if
Yeah, if you have
whatever
to
I have to
buckle
do,
down, you're gonna do what you have to do,
whatever
you
I
know.
have to do, I will do.
And
Um,
that's the mentality. That's the inner strength. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's a strong truth and a strong will to survive. And, um, yeah, I don't want to be in the world that we talked about earlier, like, let's be a slave to this. I will fight. Not the kind of fighting that, I mean, I'm not gonna stop a tank. I'm not fighting like that, but I will fight in for ideas, and use my voice as long as I'm allowed to, and say things that can feel uncomfortable. Um, and with the I'd like to think that I'm at an age where I will do my best to not be divisive, or I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I also don't want to sit back and be quiet and pretend like I don't know what I know.
Well, that's why we're doing this, you know, because
Yeah.
like I can't pretend anymore. And if and when shit goes down, I don't want this as like an I told you so. I want it more as like, you guys, like I genuinely tried to
Yeah.
fucking steer us away from this reality, but like y'all just have to learn the hard way now. You know what I mean? Because you were too dense, you were too stuck up, you were too snobby and too fucking prideful to admit that you could possibly wrong, that your side could possibly be the tyrannical side at this point in history. A lot of it I feel like is pride, and when that fucking comes crashing down, like we talked about it before, like it hurts. It fucking hurts to admit you were wrong, to admit that you were part of something that did people wrong. You know what I mean? Like then you
To
have to
take
go
your
in.
part, to take responsibility for your part
Yeah, now
in
your
something.
worldview
Yeah.
has to change. It like can uproot fucking everything, you know. And I get the whole spiritual bypassing. They've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and it's like, I mean, you can only do that for so long, especially and as far as the masses go. You know, everybody wants to be Pontius Pilate and wash their hands of like, well, it wasn't me, but it's like, no, it will be you though, because you're the one that voted for it. You're the one that wanted it. And you were the one to be that were too proud to admit that you could possibly do the same shit that you accuse the others of doing, you know, and that is like the Nietzsche saying, like, beware, you know, when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. For when you gaze long into the abyss gazes also into you. And that's what these people are playing with. That they're playing with the fighting monsters so long that they become the fucking monster, and it's about to happen on a national scale. And whenever the fucking government becomes the monster, that enacts the most death through all of human history. It's always been the government that has fucking killed more people than anything, more than the plague, more than fucking smallpox. You know what I mean? It's tyrannical governments murdering their own people. Like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. And I'll say one more thing, and then we can probably, both of us probably getting a little tired here, but
Yeah, sorry guys. I know this one was like kind of didn't mean to be such a downer, but it's like, I'm fired up, man. Like I am mad about it, you know?
yeah, no, I think this is absolutely worth being mad about. I mean, it's I suppose as somebody who works in, I mean, the trauma is what I work with the horses and people, and epigenetic trauma, that I am constantly fascinated how it's just replaying. It's just we dress a little different, but that's how powerful the control comes through, like fighting wars for the rich. Like you'd think that, right? We wouldn't, I mean, I would think that and maybe that's what the whole World War thing is. Maybe it has to be, the mirror has to be that in front of everybody to get people to like, because that fear, just wait till something more so, because it's easy when it's over there, we don't see it. It's super, super easy to sit on your keyboard and analyze and your team and this team. But when it shows up in a dirty bomb in your city, when these cells that are here, when these things start really popping off, and well, I'm pissed because I don't want to see that. I just don't want, just like you, I don't want to see it, but I really don't think there's going to be any other way. I just don't.
Yeah, or your town gets hit with an EMP, and now everything, including all the traffic lights, 911, everything is out of order, and the chaos that brings, the panic, the struggle. I mean, you think struggle, but there's nothing that makes somebody more desperate than their kid going a few days without eating food at all. You know what I mean? That makes people do desperate shit. Like
when the checks, the debit, the government money to food, what's it, food stamps, that sort of thing, or your medications, Wait till the masses can't get their medications that they're now addicted to, all the Adderalls, everything, all of it.
Or even like the more serious, like insulin, the ones that people genuinely, blood thinners, shit that people need to live, or
Yeah,
they won't survive, you know,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and that's your grandma, that's your mom with type 2 diabetes, whatever, you know what I mean? Your fucking kid who has asthma. Trust me, asthma's no joke. Like, you can fucking die from an asthma
yeah.
attack because you're not getting oxygen, you know? So it's like, when your fucking kid can't get their asthma inhaler, you know, when you're fucking starving, when the only thing that's around are pets and shit, like what happened in Venezuela, like, you'll learn all those zombie movies, and like that zombie archetype is not people with a virus that come back from the dead. It's starving fucking hordes of people, and what they would resort to for even a single fucking bite of food or drink of water. You know what I mean? Like, that is the archetype. Like, it's they've already war gamed this shit out
Well, and
too.
predictive programming. I mean, that's another one that people that I like. Predictive programming. What?
Conspiracy. That's a conspiracy.
What? Predictive programming? It's like, I don't know what to tell you at this point. You need to get yourself a conspiracy theorist friend
Or
and
just
really engage.
try Google for once in your
Yeah,
fucking life. Like,
yeah. Quit parroting everything that you hear and actually. Well, I think it's gonna get spicy and it's gonna get I
we're
think
gonna
these
get more
shows.
spicy, guys, as time
Yeah,
goes on.
yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
Oh
I think
shit.
that this is gonna get real interesting. It's only
And even
70 days,
afterwards, you know,
3 months.
again, what we're gonna hope that we're wrong, but if we're not, we're gonna be talking our shit, y'all.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, yeah, 11 o'clock. And oh, this is where I say hit the subscribe button and thumbs up because it helps in the algorithms.
yes,
And please do share. And
please share.
yeah. And we will be here the same, maybe not the same time. We started a little late today, but generally 8 o'clock on Mondays is our time
Mondays.
slot. Yeah.
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 Well,
Anything else
thanks,
that you want
guys.
to say?
No, just keep your eyes open, guys. Think critically. Use your own judgment. Don't bypass that into somebody else, you know, like, use your own, like, don't outsource your opinions, your beliefs, your judgment. Don't outsource that. Run it through your own self. You know what I mean? Like, run it through a critical eye. Try to take some of these beliefs that you have and your own beliefs, and criticize them. Look at them with a critical, analytical eye, you know? And I think that that's really how you kind of can de-escalate yourself and stay more in the middle, you know? And I need to do it too. And I do try to do it, you know? And that's how I form my beliefs. I don't outsource them. I run them through my own apparatus, you know,
Your own apparatus.
my own brain, my own
Yeah.
fucking mental apparatus. You know, I do. I get my fine tooth comb. I get my magnifying glass, you know, I criticize my own beliefs and my own side as much as I do the other. And that's what you have to do to remain critical and unbiased, basically, you know?
Yeah, I
So,
think to not have a visceral reaction to politics, take as much as you can emotion out of it. I know that there's hot topics or hot button topics, but the more that you can take your emotion out of it and look at it, the better off. It's
and that's not to
definitely.
say emotions are always wrong. Like, clearly, I got a little worked up about some stuff, especially men and women's prison, but that's after the fact that
I don't
I
mean emotion in
analyzed.
the presentation.
Yeah.
I mean emotion in how you're making your decisions on something. That's
Exactly.
when, but when you're passionately discussing something, yeah, the emotion. But when you're in there, and and your first thought, well, they're conspiracy theorists. I'm not even going to go there. Like, well, that's your first problem.
Thank you. I wear that like a badge of honor, like right on my sleeve. Well,
Yeah.
conspiracy theorist badge.
Yeah, I've been on a list so long, and I've been, and I think that is something. And I did say this when I was doing my other show back in LA, or even when Jason and I were doing it, that I forgot what I was going to say. I literally, like, I saw the words and they went poof.
Boop. And on that, we're gonna
On
go.
that note, we're going to go poof. All right.
I love you,
I
Kim.
adore you. That's the perfect outro. And I will talk to you soon and see everybody next time.
I love it.
Have a
Good
great
night,
week.
guys.
Poof.
Bye. Poop.
Bye.